live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, 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 we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
So we have a mental health moment today. You all know this is my big passion. This is like purpose for me, is seeing athletes whole and happy. And that's why I do what I do. But from a mental health standpoint, we're all so fragile. And so I'm always concerned. And so today we're talking about Ben Simmons. He has kind of quietly stayed in the background this whole season. You haven't really seen him much. He does not practice with the team, does not participate in any of the team things. He's been very vocal and very honest about his desire not to be there with the 76ers anymore. So the deadline's coming up on the 11th. And so apparently he's been working out, but not working out with like trainers. Like he's been seen in gyms around town, playing with like Dion Waiters and some people, just pick up ball kind of stuff. Just trying, I guess, keep himself in some semblance of shape. But he's just standing in the dark to avoid the mental anguish. This is the sad part. This is why it's our mental health moment. He says he's staying in the dark to avoid the mental anguish that being at practice or doing anything publicly can bring. He is seeing a therapist, so kudos to him for that, as part of what he's doing. But it just breaks my heart that we are in this society where someone has to feel like they've got to be a recluse, essentially, in order not to be ridiculed and put in bad situations. It's really sad. What are your thoughts, Kennard?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Again, my condolences to Ben while he's going through stuff like that. Anytime anybody goes through any type of again, like I told you, it's up and down just as far as your journey. So, right now he's kind of like in a valley in a sense. So I know what that feels like. Sometimes, I think I don't even get too, maybe not get too down on it, because he may just be saying he's in a valley. And I think a lot of times people don't acknowledge that. So for him to say that, this is making him feel this way, it may take everybody for surprise, but it may be because, he's, again, seeing a therapist and he's a little bit more confident, in kind of who he is, and he's just verbally saying that, but I think a lot of other people could potentially say that they're experiencing the same thing on a day-to-day level. But now if they're willing to say that, I'm not sure. And I think, again, given his title and his occupation, everything is heightened. Like when he gets pulled over, it's heightened. When he goes to the store, it's heightened. If he steps on his foot, anything is heightened. So he may not be in the depths of valley. And I think he may not be in it, but I think he's also acknowledging too that, there are, even from like a social media and from just like, he's also like, letting us know too as well, just giving us enlightenment of like, what that looks like to him on a day-to-day basis, or hinting at where it comes from. So even the fact that he's able to detail where that comes from already lets you know that, like, I think I think this is definitely a strategic move. I think this is something he's probably been dealing with for years. He's probably just now getting to the point where he's able to do this. And I think now we're seeing the back end of it, which is probably really, for him, he probably said, man, this probably been the happiest point of my life from 16 to 26. It'll probably be right about now. He's probably, I'm just thinking about him. He might be, I'm assuming, but he may be in the happiest, like the freest state, to where like, he's like, wow, I don't got to practice. Like,
right.
I don't got to, like, it's happy. Like, it's such a happy space being a normal person.
Right.
He has to live up to anything, and coming in every day, and like everybody, it's a microscope on you the minute you walk through the door. So from the trainers to the coaches to everybody, they're asking, why are you walking like that? Are you sick? Are you like
right? Why you sit down? Right.
Why are you eating that today? Are you just eat at home? Do you need more food? Like,
oh my gosh.
Like, hey, like, I just want it, but he probably does, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of my thought on it.
No, I love it. And I love the point that you make about him. And so for him, I will say, like you, kudos for being willing to, not only that you were self-aware, that you, even if it took you going through some therapy to be aware that you are in this space, but then being bold enough to say it out loud, like, no, this is where I am. And that doesn't typically happen. So kudos to him for that as well. Yeah. All right. So our feel good final thought today. This was the absolute. So I'll tell you, Kennard, we have a barometer for our feel good final thought. Either it is going to cause us eyeball sweat, or we are going to smile. So for me, this one kind of did both, but it was happy eyeball sweat. It wasn't sad eyeball sweat. So this one, I saw it and I promise you, it's sad to say, I probably shouldn't admit this, but I watched it probably about 5 times just because it was so darn cute. So the Detroit Pistons surprised their players, I think it was last week, could have been the week before, by having their children on the big screen announcing each one of the starters. Oh, it was so cute. And to see their faces, because they weren't expecting it. And so as each one stood up after the first one and then the second one, and they stood up and they were just smiling, you could see like pride beaming out of each one of them as they watched their kids. Some of them, the kids so little you can barely understand what it was so cute though. It was so cute. It was like definitely a feel good moment for sure. For sure.
Yes. So I think that's awesome. Like, I was trying to think if I had like a really good feel good moment, but I really think that tops it. Cause like, even how you said, it was really to kind of extract, like you said, that pride, like you said, just falling out of them. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It was oozing. You could just see it as they looked up and they were looking at their babies, introducing them, and the smiles on their face. It was priceless. I said, this was the best thing ever. So it had to be the feel good final thought.
Yes.
It had to be. All right. So our final segment is show picks. And I don't know if you all heard all the stuff that Kennard has going on in his life. So we're not going to even ask you what you're watching, because we know you don't have time for that, right?
Yeah, I'm watching a good bit of podcasts. That I'm Athlete podcast is something that I'm heavy on with Brandon Marshall.
Yes.
Watching that. I know they have like that Pivot podcast. So
yes, that's so good. Yes, both of them are really good. Yeah.
In and out of Power for a minute. So I know that everyone's kind of hot back on the Power. So like apparently it must be good. So that would be my next show pick. Okay.
All right. And so my show pick is a movie. Funny that we brought this person up earlier. It's a movie called Home Team. I think it's either, I can't remember if it's Prime or Netflix. I believe it's Amazon Prime, but either way, it is actually the story of Sean Payton for the year he was suspended from the NFL. And he went and coached his son's football team.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I've heard about that. So I need to go watch it.
And so the good thing is Adam Sandler produced this movie. So you already know it's humorous. It's not serious. And Kevin James is playing Sean Payton. So anybody who knows who Kevin James is, know this is stupid. He is hilarious. This is a great movie. It was really one of those feel-good movies. They didn't make it too heavy. I mean, it was some heavy stuff, but it was real light the way that they presented it. And so it was really good. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did. I was like, am I going to watch this about Sean Payton? But when I saw it was Kevin James and Adam Sandler had actually produced it, I said, oh, I got to do this. Gotta watch this. So Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank y'all for joining us for another one, episode 147 of the Field to the Real podcast. So, as always, we appreciate you all for rocking with us. For those of you who are always supporting us and always there, we so appreciate it. We also encourage you all to interact with us. You can email us at fieldthe2therealpodcast@gmail.com, Twitter at fieldthe2therealp1, IG is at fieldthe2therealpodcast. Facebook and YouTube are just like you see it behind me, Field to the Real Podcast. And please, please, please like, share, comment on our YouTube page. We want to hear from you all. We want to get your opinions. We got a week, like you'll see this, hear this, or see this within tomorrow and next week. So you got time to get your who's really right vote in before the Super Bowl actually happens. And so I hope that you all will continue to rock with us. Don't worry, Jared will be back. As I told you all last week, Drew, Isaiah, Burgess was born. And so he is doing daddy duty right now. And so we will see him in about 3 weeks. But don't leave us, continue to rock with us. And we will talk to you soon. Peace.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.